All right, our next item of business is an update. The next item of business is an update from the Rules Committee. The chair recognizes Scott Hughes.
Good morning, Bishop. Good morning, Conference. I am Scott Hughes. I serve as your chair of your Committee of Rules. I'm a white male from Grace United Methodist Church, and I'm a fan of the U.S. men's national soccer team who plays tonight at 8 o'clock against Paraguay. And I plan to be there, Bishop. So let's do some business. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here today as chair of Rules. We had a Rules Committee meeting this morning in relation to the proposal that has come to us from the Strategic Implementation Team, the SIT team. This is the document you were handed yesterday at 4 o'clock related to possible reorganization of the conference structure. After review, the Committee of Rules, Bishop, I'd like to make a motion. As chair of Committee of Rules recommends the proposal be referred to the Committee of Rules to be returned next year in a complete revised bylaws for the
I'm going to invite you
conference.
not to clap so that we can hear exactly what he said. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. I make a motion that the SIT team proposal be referred to the Committee of Rules and that we be tasked with returning next year with a complete revised copy of both the standing rules and the bylaws for the Louisiana Annual Conference related to the SIT team proposal.
Okay. Okay. Just a second. I heard 2 seconds out there. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. All right. Several. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Microphone 1. Please identify yourself.
Donnie Wilkinson,
Can you
white male.
speak closer to the microphone so we can all hear you, please?
Donnie Wilkinson, white male clergy, First United Methodist Church of Bossier. I rise in heartfelt support of the motion to refer. From the first time I reviewed the SIT proposal, I've sincerely supported the vision of the 4 areas of focus and the concept of streamlining conference connectional table. And I deeply appreciate the immense time, prayer, and energy the members of the SIT team have poured into bringing this vision to us. At the same time, I've had profound reservations as to if the proposal as presented is ready to be adopted as a binding governance document. I do not believe it is. I have every faith that the members of the Rules Committee will take this concept of a plan and do the due diligence necessary to bring a comprehensive and effective structure to us for consideration next year. I urge the delegates to support the motion to refer.
That's a speech 4. Are there any speeches against? Please rise and go to a microphone and identify yourself. I see none moving. Oh, there's one. Please identify yourself. Microphone 2.
Allie Young, clergy, white, female, adult. Friends, we have the SIT team has been meeting for the last 2 years to do this work. They have poured their hearts and souls into this work. And I think we owe it to the SIT team to be able to have the discussion and the debate on the floor and not just simply refer back. We have entrusted them with this work. We have asked them to do this work, and we have had 53 listening sessions over the last 3 years to get input and to do this work diligently and faithfully. I think we owe it to them, to the SIT team, the laity on the SIT team, and the clergy on the SIT team who have been faithfully and consistently meeting for the last 2 years to hear them out, to have a legitimate conversation, and to attend to this holy work and not simply send it back, but to attend to this work. They have worked hard. They have poured sweat and tears into this work, and I think we owe it to them. Thank you, Bishop.
That is a speech against. Is there a speech 4? Please make your way to the microphone. Microphone 1, please identify yourself.
Reverend Matt Rawl, white cisgendered adult elder, serving St. Matthew's United Methodist Church and Carrollton United Methodist Church. I'd like to speak for the motion, and I recognize the amount of time and energy that went into the document, but the document isn't ready. This is not an affirmation of the plan or a non-affirmation of the plan, and I think the plan is meant to bring efficiency to our work. Wordsmithing this today to correct and amend potential contradictions in legislation and also some syntactical grammar issues in the document itself, I don't think is efficient of our time. So this is not whether the plan is good or bad. I'm a big fan of efficient plans, and I recognize the energy and the blood and the sweat and the tears and the listening sessions, and therefore this document should be presented to us not in the way that it is presented to us today. There's been confusion, and there are things missing in the document that will bring clarity. And without our opportunity to ask questions to bring some clarity to that before bringing it to being voted upon, the document isn't ready. Thank you.
So I have 2 for, 1 against. Are there any others? Okay, microphone 3. Please identify yourself.
Austin Reinhardt, white, male, adult clergy. Bishop, my speech is for, and I'm willing to wait if there are others who would like to make a speech against, if that's the will of the chair.
Okay, are there any others? Okay, go ahead, speak. Oh, we have Drew, okay. Microphone 4, please identify yourself, for or against.
Reverend Drew Sutton, St. Andrew's United Methodist Church, also member of the SIT team. I have a question about the process moving forward, if it's an appropriate question. Really about if we move forward in this way, will SIT be involved in the conversation with the Rules Committee in preparing the document, or will that simply be the work of the Rules Committee to bring that back to this body?
I appreciate the question. The closest that I can answer the question for the conference body is, I was asked 12 years ago to prepare a new set of bylaws for you. I would take this request, if adopted, to be similar to that request. We had listening sessions, we prepared a document. Many will remember I even prepared a side-by-side document. The left-hand column was the existing rules, the right-hand column showed a side-by-side. And we had almost unanimous support for that document. We anticipate the same process. We anticipate that this would involve the SIT team. It would certainly involve our legal teams. I will say this, this is my 15th year to serve combined as your Committee of Rules Chair. This conference has had nothing go to judicial review since 1999, and I plan to keep it that way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Microphone 3, is this for or against?
For.
Okay.
Austin Reinhardt, white, male, clergy, Southeast District. Thank you, Scott, for that clarification. I think that makes many members in this room feel confident in your work and the work of the Rules Committee. I support this motion. Simply put, when matters come before this body, one of the measures I use is how would I have done this in my local church? And talking to the delegates of the church I currently serve and the delegates of the church that I am arriving to, there was much confusion around this proposal. I liken what we are trying to do, which I support, in taking the broad work of our annual conference and moving towards a more simplified structure like many of our local churches have done. I can say, simply put, this is not how it would have been done in a local church. It would not have been acceptable, and our lay people would have revolted. They need more voice, more input, more conversation. And so, Scott, I encourage you as someone who supports this motion, please help us do our best work so that we can do this not simply from the floor, but throughout the next year as we prepare to make our annual conference more efficient. Thank you.
Thank you. We have had 3 for the referral to the Rules Committee and 1 against. Are you ready for the question? No. Yeah. Hold on. Microphone 2, we have a question. Please
Just a
identify
question.
yourself.
Dr. Richardson, J.C. Richardson, Wesley, United Methodist Church, African American, cis male. My question is this, for whomever can answer it. Obviously, the 53 listening sessions were not enough. with regards to procedures and making sure that everyone, when next time we consider this particular document, is perfectly aware, or at least have had a chance to it, what recommendations can be included either in this motion or maybe later on to ensure that whatever the listening sessions did not do, that particular system that did not work is corrected so that everybody here will be able to at least honestly not say that we don't know. So that's my question. Since the listening sessions didn't work, what other options are available so that we don't come to this place again?
Would you like me to answer that or close? I can do either one, Bishop. Okay. To answer the question, first of all, I chair the Committee of Rules. So the previous process was handled by the Strategic Implementation Team. I believe it was done in good faith. It was done of people that were trying hard. And I think it does send a message that sometimes when you get that email from the conference, we may need to open it and pay attention. Because when 53 meetings are held, sometimes it's on us. That we had an opportunity to attend something we chose not to, and we later wake up and realize, oh, that may have been important. So I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying, please be very aware as we move forward. Because as chair of the Committee of Rules, this is how I interpret the motion I've made, is you are referring a document, a report that you have received as the conference. Once a document is reported, and I'll refer to the secretary if I'm correct on this, once a document is reported, it belongs to the annual conference. You have accepted the SIT team's report. That work is completed and it is in your possession. I'm making a motion to refer that report to the rules team with the request that we bring back their work. We're not going to greatly augment that work. That work sits, and we're going to bring back to you in complete total what that proposal would look like to put it into your structure. And I didn't intend to do this, Bishop, but a lot of what's going on, I want to take some, I guess, responsibility for. There are lots of processes going on. My dad always told me don't explain math on the radio, but here we go. Conference. Our rule set has carried us for many, many decades, but it is not in a condition to carry us forward. We've had some major events take place in recent years that have also put additional stresses on how we work. And if you're looking ahead, which is part of my job, we need to set up a series of rules and structure that sets us up to carry the work of the conference into the next generations. And that's what this is really about. And in a simple form, I respect and I appreciate the work of the SIT team. They did a lot of work and it's a wonderful proposal. My job is not to recommend for or against their proposal. That is your job as the delegates to accept it. But as I appreciated it as your chairman of the rules, in a large sense, what they are trying to do is strategic, visionary, and quite frankly, simply place a new committee in your structure called the connectional table. That is, we're not going to have the whole discussion today, but that is a system that is already at place at the General Conference, at GC. Because GC meets once every 4 years as an annual body, and in the intervening years, how does the General Conference have a voice? And that's the same problem we have here. You meet once a year as the annual conference, a term that we use both to describe the corporate body, the Louisiana Conference of the South Central Jurisdiction. That is a legal corporate body that has to have bylaws. But you also meet as the annual conference, the body that meets once a year that is the board of directors, air quotes. And when you vote, you control the budget, you control the policy, you set everything. And you vote, and that is your voice. But the rest of the year, how does this body have a voice in the administration of the work? In a traditional structure, and I want to thank my friend the parliamentarian. We've been down this journey together, and we've spent many hours trying to think through this, because we are corporate people. You normally would have a CEO. You have one. But in a weird way, and no offense, Bishop, you don't hire your CEO. The CEO is granted to you by a structure. And we have an administrative structure that the bishop runs. And so a lot of what this is about, a lot of the work of what the SIT team is about, in my opinion, is trying to create a process that already exists at General Conference, that already exists at annual conferences around the country, so that this body can have a voice throughout the rest of the year. That table, if created in a weird way, and this is where the parliamentarian and I got bogged down, it has no real powers. It can't amend a budget. It can't propose a resolution. It really can't do much except advise. but its role is to be your voice in those conversations and effectively be your voice at the table with the other departments. I hope that makes sense. So, as I look at this, this is tremendous work, and I want it to be successful. And I think that we need to come back, because if you pass this motion, let me warn you what you're doing. You're not just putting a simple committee structure in place, which is kind of what we may have done today, and it has a domino effect through the other documents. Because nominations was raised yesterday, for example. Nominations, from my standpoint, is not a concern. Why? Because they exist over in the standing rules as Article K. So no, they weren't included on that list that you saw, because they don't have to be, because they're already with your other actions in another set of rules called Article K. Now, so what you're actually asking us to do, and what I'm proposing, is bring back to you next year clean documents that takes everything you've raised today, everything that we will raise and have meetings and get your input on, and if there are additional things beyond the structure, that would be at the will of this body once we put that document out in advance of conference to make recommendations and be prepared to discuss that next year. Does that address your question, sir?
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you, thank you, Scott, and that was very thorough. Are you ready for the question? All right. To refer the SIT team report to the, the Rules Committee. If so, please, it's a majority vote, please raise your green card. You're for. Okay, thank you. If you are against the referral, please, to the Rules Committee, please raise your red card. All right, it carries. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Bishop.